I mean, racism in the recruitment process is endemic, really. I can think of two specific examples. One relating to an individual. She was working in a job and she got asked to act up in a more senior role, and she did that for about 18 months. They decided to advertise the job, and she went for the job, and then she didn't get the job. And got told, well, she was a very good candidate, but she didn't have enough experience to do the job. Which was extraordinary given that she'd been doing it for 18 months. A more sort of collective example is I dealt with a reorganisation once in a local authority housing department where they'd gone from specialist workers to generic workers. What they did is reduce the number of jobs as well. So everybody had to apply for their jobs. The only people that didn't get the jobs exclusively were the black women that worked in that housing department. About 5 or 6 years ago, the government done a CV testing exercise, where they put out the same CVs but with different names to employers, and those with the BME names didn't get interviews. I mean, it was a bit better in the public sector where there's sort of recruitment sort of application forms and sort of more agreed recruitment processes, formal recruitment process. But in the private sector where it was CVs, it was absolutely terrible. People talk about disparities. Actually, what we're really talking about, and people don't want to talk about it, is institutional racism. Often what you'll hear in terms of recruitment is people talking about, well, yes, we've got equal opportunities policies, we don't think we're racist. And then they'll go on to say, but in terms of what we do, of course we have to appoint the best person for the job. What they never challenge is their image of who's the best person for the job. And the best person for the job often is somebody that looks like them and is often from the same class as them as well. What we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years is a massive increase in job insecurity, and that's disproportionately affecting black workers. BME workers. So a recent report that we done at the TUC, Is Racism Real, showed that amongst black women, for example, there's been an 80% increase in the level of insecure work. The government, for example, firstly needs to pass some legislation requiring everybody to monitor what's going on in the workplace. That can't be done on a voluntary basis, and actually the race disparity audit shows how patchy monitoring is and how difficult it is to get an accurate picture of what's going on. So we think that's essential. Secondly, we think that employers need to actually come up with some plans, some targets, as it were, about the composition of their workforce. But ultimately, I think also from our point of view as a trade unionist, I think actually employers need to work with trade unions to come up with measures in the workplace about how they're going to deal with racism, so that people feel confident that actually if they take a complaint, if they have a complaint, they have a problem, actually it can get dealt with.